Excellent. All right, Omer, why don't you start? Raphael, why don't you start?
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Raphael. I'm part of the executive committee. Our next speaker is the CEO of Utopia Deals. Utopia Deals is the second largest distributor on Amazon overall. No small feat. He's the 17th largest exporter out of Pakistan, and he has revenues of over $750 million. So allow me to introduce Jabran Niaz.
Jabran, welcome.
Thank you.
DC.
Thanks for having me.
We only met 3 months ago,
Yes.
and you live in Queens. You came down this morning, and you're leaving this afternoon, so I really appreciate you fitting us in. You and your brother started this company 13
13
years ago.
Yeah.
How many people have made it to 600 million in 13 years? That's a feat. And it wasn't like it was the first 4. It's been the last 7 or 8 that really where you've had your acceleration as an organization. But take us back to that first moment when it started. You were in Bank of America. Your brother was in Bank of America. You were in IT. Your father's textile business was winding down. He had several hundred boxes of towels, and he brought them to Queens and left them in your basement. What happened?
So when my parents came to USA and they later on bring some goods, and we had a table tennis in our basement. That was our stuff to do in winters. So they filled up with towels that go and sell these. We tried to sell it to somebody, didn't work out, lost all our money. Then we imported more goods later on, and we sold to somebody a small container, but we lost the money there too. But we were able to get some goods back. And then we were like, okay, now we don't want to do B2B business. This is big risk. And at that time, I used to buy and sell coins at Amazon. I'm a numismatician as well, so I collect old coins. So I sold some towels on eBay, and that worked out. So that's how I started selling online.
It's such a simple story. And your father's business wasn't going well.
Yes, so when I came to USA about 18 years ago, me and my brother was at time in Denmark. He was doing his master's. So we are both from software background. So we were like, okay, we saw good times when we were young, and then we came to USA. We were like, business was almost bankrupt, and it was sad stories every day. So first 4 years in the country, me and my brother was just paying off the debt of the business, and it was a struggle. And then when we had our home, when we were settled, when parents were here, then we finally thought that, okay, we don't want to do any business in our life. It's a big risk. It can hurt you. So we never wanted to actually do business after the experience of my dad.
You didn't want to do business?
No, absolutely not.
And this is where you are?
Yes.
So you started working on Amazon. And let's give this sort of statistics. There's 9 million sellers.
Yeah, about 9.5 million sellers on
Amazon, and more added.
Yes.
On a regular basis.
Yes.
You were just another seller.
Yes,
there was nothing particularly unique about you. In fact, your education and your background, talk about that. Your history.
So I graduated from FAST. I did my master's from there. My brother graduated from BSKU. He did his master's in technology. We both technology graduates from he did from Denmark, and then we later on continued our technology jobs. So we were purely software developers.
And then this turn happened in your life, and you started getting traction on e-commerce. So that first few years, what gave you the motivation and the confidence to go in this direction fully? Because it was a side business when you started.
So when you get comfortable in your job, right? I mean, I was VP in Bank of America, And you don't have too much work in large organizations sometimes because you're in a senior level role, and you try to do your job in 2 hours, and your manager tells, no, don't do it in 2 hours, do it in one day, otherwise they will think, what are we doing, right? So they're asking you to not finish the task in less hours. So basically you have too much time on your side, right? And that last 4 years in Bank of America allowed me to like think on a business, spend time, and my brother was also there as a big support. So it helped me to run both of them for about 3 to 4 years in parallel, and that was very important. After like we had initial success on eBay, when we start listing our products on Amazon, we realized that because when we were selling on eBay, when we sell, let's say 20 units, we were happy. But when we sold 100 units, we were sad because now I have to pack 100 units. I come back from work and I have to pack 100 boxes. Imagine you're like doing an IT job, maybe making $100 an hour, and you're comparing after calculating how much profit you made, and you pack like 100 boxes and probably make $20, $30 per hour, right? So you're like initially happy, you're doing some business. So the eBay thing was when we were selling goods on eBay, it was good until we were realizing that it was not making enough profit to cover the net worth, like the value of our time. But when we learned about Amazon, the Amazon provided a service that where you can keep your goods with Amazon and Amazon can pick and pack for you. So then that makes like, okay, now they're doing the tough part. Now we have to think about the part that how to design products, how to launch products, how to sell them. And since with a very strong background in technology, things were very natural, like how to put pictures, how to put listings, how the search algorithm works. So it was very natural for us in the early days.
And so what did you learn about the platform that allowed you to begin to go from a volume of 100 to 1,000 to 10,000? Take us through that.
So in the beginning, it was just a side hustle, like, okay, you know what, I mean, how much we can make? I mean, how can we actually do at some point reach to a level that it does better than your regular job? And we never thought on day one that we will reach that level. But US is a big country. If anything works, that's the beautiful thing about startup and USA, and that if anything works and it has a big scale, things change very quickly. So after a couple of years, we realized that we are now, like, let's say first year selling $200,000, next year million, the following year we have a sale of 5 million, then 10 million, and then you have 10-15% on let's say 10 million. Now you're making a big number. Now you're making a lot more than your salary. So by that time, I was making like 10x of my salary. So of course I had to resign by that time and pay full attention to the business.
And what did you learn about marketing and e-commerce that allowed you to accelerate the volume at that scale? What did you figure out?
So in the early days of Amazon, there was not like too much potential for marketing. So you just have to have good listings and proper search SEOs and other things. And if people get to see your product and buy, they have a better conversion, they rank higher. So we understand those concepts, so we know that what to sell, at what price to sell, what colors to sell, what sizes to sell. So we did a lot of like data analysis. We were computer programmers, so we get data for other sellers, sales history, and then we use that information that we know from like, we use a lot of technology to actually like drive like what we need to sell and how we need to sell.
Now, were there any particular products that were such big winners that it began to make Utopia Deals go in the direction that it now is today? Like, what was the turning point moments? And what were some of the challenges? Because when you grow that fast, there's a lot you have to do, and you're sitting in Queens. You don't even go to Pakistan that often. So how did you do this from Queens, and what were the big turning points?
Okay, so my brother Adnan, he's like a crazy technology guy. In Bank of America, we used to have a joke about him, like if there are 10 programmers working at the same time, he himself is alone equal to them. So when they assign a project, like he asks like 1 week time to do it, and if they assign him a different project, the other guy asks for like, I need 6 weeks for this. And he says in front of like 20 people in a conference call, okay, that was Adnan's 1 week, I'm gonna do it in 6 weeks. So that's how obvious it was at that time, like he was a crazy programmer. So until we reached the revenue of about 30 million, we automated everything. So we had dashboards, we have systems, and we had only 4 people doing a revenue of 30 million because
4 people.
Only 4 people, me, Adnan, and a couple of more help. That's it.
30 million.
Yeah, and that was purely because of the lot of help from technology. There was a lot of hustle. In the early days, we were packing boxes. I was taking pictures. We were like doing trips for the sourcing.
You're going to China?
Going to China. That was happening in a later stage, but I was traveling. I was going to trade shows in Germany and other places, or whatever we knew at that time. We were like very naive, to be very frank. In the early days, Amazon was way too easy in its early days than it is today. So the entry was easy. We went and entered in the right time, and then technology helped us a lot in the early days.
So when I talked to you, you really emphasized this point of this partnership between you and your brother. He took on the technology role inside the company, customizing applications as you grew to help you scale. And you were out all over the world finding the supplies, the suppliers, building the teams, managing the teams. Is that how the responsibilities played out?
Yeah, we keep changing our roles. He was always, I was the best developer in every team I worked, but when I was working with him, I was like completely sidelined because he was so good. I write code and he write better code than that in like 1/10 of a time. So there was no comparison. He was like a superhero of software developers, right? Even today's world, you may not find such a good software developer elsewhere. I don't know anyone as good as him. So in our technology, like someone used to tell us, like for example, they're gonna integrate with eBay, right? And they're gonna charge us, let's say 3% of our commission. And they explain us in the demo in half hour. And in the night he calls me, oh, I finished that integration. Now we have integrated with eBay by our own code. So they are selling a software service to hundreds of sellers and probably making a good fortune by just integrating Amazon with eBay and doing a shipping with them. And every time, and this has not happened once with us, every time we talk to a software company who provide us a solution, in the morning they offer us a solution, in the night, by the night it was implemented in our system. So things that other companies probably make in 3 months, 6 months, we were able to make it very quickly as compared to them. And my role was mostly completely broad, like what kind of products we need to sell, how to handle the team, where to expand, where to build the teams, how to manage them.
So it really surprised me that in the first, I'd say 5-10 years of Utopia, how often did you go to Pakistan?
Not frequently, maybe every 2 years, 3 years.
You would go?
I go, but not because of the business. I go because to meet people or friends.
So you ran this out of Queens, in your basement?
Yes.
Okay, how did you do that?
I still work from my basement, by the way. In Long Island, but I still work from my basement.
So you moved?
Yes, I moved to Long Island, but still work from my basement. Last 13 years, I've been working from my basement. I never worked a single day of my business from an office. Even I went back there for a couple of days. Of course, I said.
And how many employees do you have now?
Right now, both companies combined, we have more than 10,000 employees.
Okay, from your basement?
Yes.
Okay, so that obviously, underneath that is a commitment to process and how you run your teams and how you set expectations and set goals and manage. So walk us through a week in the life of Jabran. Like, what is that like?
Today?
Yeah, well, even 5 years ago.
When I was in software, we were like very big fan of Agile and Scrums, right? So we used to run our projects, and software projects are very tricky. If you are not very agile, the same project can take 1 year and someone else can come and finish that project in 2 months. Or someone can probably come up with a mock-up screen in a day and surprise everybody, right? So you can have wonders. So we learned a lot from Scrum and Agile and daily Scrum meetings and Scrum Master setup. And we implemented that in our e-commerce world. So when we hired people in Pakistan, we started building teams. Initially we hired like gold medalists from IBA, FAST, and top 10 of their skills, because the e-commerce skills didn't exist, so the experience was useless for us. So we hired the best people, tried to build initial team, but what worked for us was that we were doing daily meetings with most of the teams. Okay, what you did today, what are you doing today, what are you going to tomorrow, what are your problems, how are you going to solve it? And in that process, when they commit in front of a team, like they're committing in front of 6 people, I'm gonna finish that by tomorrow. And if you don't finish by that tomorrow, he feel very embarrassed, like, okay, I committed that I'm gonna do this by tomorrow, but since I didn't do it and I committed in front of 6 colleagues, now he feel bad. And you keep doing it every day, right? This Scrum process, like, okay, even if it is half an hour, you're talking with people, like, okay, what did you do today? What are you going to tomorrow? What are your challenges? And they make commitments. People make commitments. People explain how they're going to solve their problem. So they're doing whatever you teach them to do, but you're making them accountable every single day or every single week in a bigger meetings. So that process helped us a lot. Whatever we learned from big IT projects in big companies, we implemented that in our own business.
Now, you went through quite a bit of evolution in your thinking of who to hire, where to hire, what to pay to build your team in Pakistan. And your entire team is in Pakistan, right?
So I mean, there are a lot of stories out there, and I'm sure there are a lot of huge stories where very successful Pakistani entrepreneurs are out there. But there may not be any story where the first or second largest Amazon seller out of 9.5 million seller have the entire team in Pakistan, right? So the 200 or about 400 people right now, we have 400 to 500 people. They are in Pakistan. They are running the first or second largest seller on Amazon entirely, and that's a big thing. I mean, a Pakistan origin brand, which is being probably in the house of probably each one of you. If you go to your Amazon buying account and search for Utopia, you'll probably find a product or two that you purchase from us, right? So that is entirely run from Pakistan. So all the talent that is like competing with these 9.5 million sellers, and these are smartest people from China, USA, Philippines, India, everywhere else. They beat them square every time on every product, every time, right? That's all running from Pakistan.
So, in the early days, you struggled to hire. People came, people left. You had to figure out what was your core focus, what kind of profile of person you were trying to recruit, and how you built your HR team to recruit. You had some big lessons early on. What were those? And then, what's working today?
So, I mean, when I was in Bank of America, I was maybe above average guy, like any one of the person you meet every day, like you work in Bank of America or you work in that company. So I was an average guy, but this 12-year journey, it transformed me every single day. So as I said that when we built up our first team in Pakistan, we hired fresh graduates. We spent $10,000 on them and sent them on international trips. They come back and say, oh, someone is giving me like $100 more, I want to go to P&G. And they moved, and all your $10,000 investment is lost because you spend on them, you send them on international trade shows to China, they learn everything, and now you lost your money. So there were a lot of lessons learned. We made, I mean, in my manufacturing company, when we hired people, and every time I made the common mistake was that the focus on HR was not enough. I mean, there was absolutely, in the beginning there was no focus on HR, and later on there was less focus on HR. And anyone who wants to be an entrepreneur, the biggest suggestion I can give them, the most important suggestion is, the most important task for an entrepreneur is to focus on people, and that start with HR. So you find the most competent HR, and you spend most of your time hiring the best talent, right? So you probably take 10 interviews to hire the best HR, the type of company you want to become from one of those companies, and then use that HR to build a production or any facility you want to build from one of the companies that you want to reach to at that level. And most of the money or most of the mistakes we did in e-commerce or in our manufacturing in early days was that we didn't have the right person for the right job. We took too much time to hire the good HR or good manager. And I think now, if I redo it, I can do a lot better. But I think the person I become after all those mistakes and now where we are, I mean, it's a huge journey and it's a huge learning curve as an individual.
Yeah, you said to me over lunch that Utopia Deals and Utopia Industries is the public expression of my personal development as an individual.
You can say that, yes.
And so, what are the leadership principles? What are the principles that are rooted in your leadership today? What are the things that you value that shape the culture of your business?
So, again, I'm going to go back to the same concept. A company is as good as its people, right? So how you empower the people and how you give them power to do things and make them accountable and give them ownership and treat them justly and make them accountable too. So we have tools. So Pakistan is a different culture, and the Pakistani people have a different DNA, right? I mean, and you have to understand. It took me a while to understand, but the people in Pakistan, they need a very, it's very hard to make them accountable. So in order to make them accountable, we went to the last level. We set up facial recognition based in and out mechanism that no one can, because anything less than that, they will temper. And so, and also we have hub stuff like in-house software that is monitoring the activity of individual. So if an individual...
On your computers, right?
On everyone's computer.
A camera.
No. A hub staff is a software
right.
that takes like a screenshot. So we built an in-house software that does something similar to that. So it monitors your activity. So not only we make you accountable what time you're coming in and out, but also you feel that we're watching you all the time while not being there. So if you're watching YouTube in the office, or if you're watching like dramas or doing your other work that you should not be doing. So as soon as we see this guy is not performing, we open up his profile and see his 6 months history, like what exactly he was doing, what softwares, is he using the company internal softwares all the time, or he's like on some website reading some book or tutorial or something that is irrelevant to the business. And then we ask them, okay, your performance is not bad because you were not focused, and we explain them, and then we work with them to fix those issues. So a lot of people are not successful in Pakistan because they don't understand Pakistani people well. So once you understand people well, like their weakness, and at the same time, on the strength, they will work for you. Like even if you want to make them work for 12 or 14 hours, on the day you need them, they will do that for you. They are very committed, very passionate people. But you have to understand like what's their weaknesses, what's their strength, and make them work in your favor.
So let's go to now this moment in time where Amazon, or Utopia Deals was doing very well, and you had this idea of making things in Pakistan. So how did Utopia Industries start, and what is the vision of that business?
Okay, so in around 2019, the USA started having trade issues with China, and they start imposing additional tariffs and duties. And I always wanted to do something in Pakistan. Before that, we were building some schools, but I was not happy with that because it was making not enough difference that I really wanted to see. I wanted to make a real difference, that it's something that actually have an impact on a very large scale. And even like building some schools have some impact, but can't wait 16 years for each kid to graduate and see what they are doing and seeing the impact. And so it's still a decent impact, but the impact that you really want to make, like, so we saw an opportunity. We saw like everyone so I used to go a lot to China, right? And the labor in Pakistan is like 7 times cheaper. I go and talk to a Pakistani manufacturer, and because we used to buy goods from Pakistani manufacturers, and they said, okay, why your price is high? And they say, oh, China labor cost is cheaper. I said, no, China labor cost is 7 times higher than you. You're quoting the wrong information. Then I keep talking with Pakistani people, and everyone keep telling me complete stuff that is completely unreal and untrue. They say electricity prices is cheaper in China. I call my Chinese friend and they say no. And they say gas prices are cheaper in China. I call my Chinese friend and they say no. And I keep they're saying raw material is more expensive in Pakistan. I call someone and they say, oh, you can get raw material duty free if you're an exporter. So when I keep hearing this and keep talking to every top Pakistani manufacturer I deal with, I'm like, these are all myths, right? And this is, I see that the land is cheaper, the construction cost is cheaper, the labor is cheaper, everything is cheaper. Why can't we make things cheaper in Pakistan, right? So we started with small. We set up, we buy some land, build some factories, start some towels or some manufacturing unit. When we ran that, we ran into trouble because it's not easy. We had hiring issues. We again no experience, but we had a big backing from our e-commerce company. So with 6 months, 8 months, when we learned, so in Pakistan, most of the people make stuff like they make towels, they make bed sheets, they make garments, jeans, very limited products they make. and that is like probably 2% of the world commerce, right? So what we did is whatever we sell, we start making that in Pakistan slowly and gradually. We start making non-stick cookware, cast iron cookware, hangers, velvet hangers, plastic metal products. So we start making waterproof products. So in most of these in innovative products, we are probably the only or the largest exporter from Pakistan, because no one actually thought that it will be cheaper to make these products in Pakistan. So that issue that started with the trade, that extra tariff on China, and then we start focusing on.
So Trump was responsible for your business?
He has some contribution, of course.
So you made this decision and you built a manufacturing campus. How big is it? How does it work?
So right now, we started 3 to 4 years ago. We had about 10,000 people working within our facilities, and we are 16th largest exporter in Pakistan. Most of the exporter in top 20 are at least 40 to 50-year-old companies run by like large families. But we are probably the only one out there which is only 3 to 4-year-old, and about 16 largest, 150 million revenue we have in export, and I think it's growing very fast. So I'm looking forward to expand that.
How big is your campus? How many?
We have like about 6 locations, about on 2 million square foot. Yeah.
And you have this vision of import substitution, right? And you have a vision of making things in Pakistan that have never been made.
Absolutely, because we are scared of making anything new. Most countries are, and Pakistan is a huge market, right? For example, why can't we make printers? Printers are being made for so many years, and Pakistan need probably, I'm just giving you an example, $500 million or $300 to $400 million of printers every year, right? Why can't someone can invest $1 million in molds or technology and start selling printers in Pakistan and make a policy to put a high duty on printers? So I explained the same technology, same concept for office chairs, for all kinds of electrical, electronics, strollers, car seats, all these things that are being consumed a lot in Pakistan and mostly imported. We can make in Pakistan at a much cheaper cost, create a lot of jobs, and then huge import substitution.
So go back to your motivation. You said you wanted to make an impact. You have 10,000 employees. How many employees do you want to have, and why?
So I want to have 100,000 employees, probably grow 10x from here.
And it's not the money. You want to have you are affecting families and lives.
Yes, and I want to explain to people, it's not about the money. I mean, I have a big US company, my investment in Pakistan, even in like last 3 to 4 years, if you sum it up, it may be 20, 30 million maybe. It's not a big money. I mean, a lot of people in this room or like open platform can get that kind of money very easily, right? A lot of CPEC projects which are in billions is probably generated less than 1,000 jobs, right? So a small money, because the revenue is 150 million, but to set up the factory, you don't need that much money. You get a lot of money from the banks, you get machinery on finance, there are a lot of money you can get elsewhere. So the investment is less, but 10,000 people are 10,000 families, right? Each family, maybe 5 member is 50,000 people, and then those people go and spend money in the market. Even if that money goes twice, it's 100,000 people you're impacting. With a very small business. I still call it a very small business in a bigger picture, where we have seen huge businesses in USA, right? And that could be like, so that 100,000 can probably reduce 1 to 2% of, actually 20% of Karachi unemployment. Karachi is one of the world's largest city, right? And this small company can reduce Karachi unemployment. If it is 6%, you're reducing it to 5%, then it can reduce 20% unemployment in a bigger city like Karachi. So in any other city, it may just completely wipe out the unemployment. In a smaller city, I mean. So that is the impact of just one business, just one manufacturing facility in one concept. If more people do it in a similar model, either import substitution or export related, I mean, it has a huge impact.
So how are you going to stay number 2 or get to number 1 when there's 9.5 million competitors? How do you stay on top of that?
Last week we were number 1. Yesterday
you were?
Yeah. So that is the first time we became number 1 actually last week.
The number 1 largest seller on Amazon.
Yeah. So rating updates every day based on feedbacks and reviews. It's an independent group that estimates the sales, and based on that. So the last week we achieved number 1. I think that any company that is doing similar business, right? Let's say they have 400 people in USA. If they pay them, let's say, $40 million in salary, I mean, they cannot compete with us. And we have our own warehousing, which is almost half the rate in strategic locations. So we have all the warehousing managed and trucking managed by us. And we do volume products like pillows and comforters and blankets and bathrobes that take a lot of space. So it's very hard to beat us in the area we are strong. And also, we are very big in technology. All our competitors are buying like softwares from others, which we have in-house. Plus, we have very lot of experience in designing product. So the key role that I play today is design products, especially plastic, metal products. For example, I give you an example. We made a human mouse trap, which traps a mouse, doesn't kill it, and then you leave it in the wild. So it is now popular in USA that you don't want to kill a mouse. So and you can reuse it, right?
It's that easy.
So I have patent in my name. My team designed.
You have the patent.
I have the patent of one part of it, but similarly, I have dozens of patents in my name, right? So we keep designing new and new patents. Like we make a product that is very multiple nesting, multiple stacking. We make product that takes 50% space. We make product with lighter weight metal, does the same job, and we buy products, let's say 10 samples from USA, then we buy 10 samples from China for the manufacturers. We do like 6 months and 1 year research, like what is the best way to make this product. That's the only way to win today, because you have to make the best product that is out there. And our people in Pakistan design the best product, then we launch it, then we are successful. That's how we keep growing in this competitive market.
And the lawyers who file the patents are also in Pakistan. Where are they?
So I explain you, like in USA, a patent attorney, the ones I used are minimum like $400 to $500 per hour, right? And I have a team of like 5 or 6 people who are as good as those in my own team. That probably cost me like maybe 5% of that, right? So that's the value you can get once you train people. Like that's the money you can save. Similarly, I have people in insurance, people in legal.
In Pakistan.
In Pakistan.
Doing work here.
I have my own media company who hire models, make the videos that you see on Amazon. We have one of the best videos with Western-looking models. And the whole production house, from lightman to cameraman to makeup artist, is all in Pakistan. And they make the videos at 1/10 of the cost that our competitors are making. So we try to like utilize the top of the line skills available in Pakistan, and we save a lot of money in the end.
Fabulous. Let's open it up to questions. Nargis. Amir. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum. Really a pleasure to, hear your story and conversation.
Thank you.
So my question may be a little more for you to just explain from when you started. And I loved the story of packing the towels. So I just want to know, did you have a roadmap at that time? Did you have the objectives that you may be defining now? Strategically, did you plan to get to a certain point and exceeded beyond that and then started planning? Did it just happen?
I'm still living a dream. Someone will wake me up anytime. I never planned. I never wanted to start a business.
That's what I
was
wanted to
thrown
hear.
into fire. No, but even like 5 years ago, we didn't thought we will be here. Even 2 years ago, I didn't thought I will be here. I mean, that's our whole journey that we only focused on today. Okay, next 6 months, 1 year. We do have a vision. Okay, let's do this. It will have impact in 5 years. But we never thought that we will come this far.
No, excellent. So that's what I thought, but I was just like admiring the fact that without a vision, you were just working hard and things happen and you've gotten to where you are, and hopefully, inshallah, you'll go places. My second question was, you have so many people that are working with you now. What are some of the civic responsibilities, as you mentioned, some schools, how would you take care of your employees and beyond the employees, people in the places that you have,
Okay, so That a question, if you ask me this question 4 years ago, I will give a different answer.
Okay.
Because I'm a big supporter of TCF. We built 4 schools with them.
Okay.
But
Shimyappa is
today,
here somewhere, right?
but today I will answer that question differently. I'll say I want to create jobs, right? I want to use every penny I have to create another job, right? Because when I pay that guy 60,000 rupees, 70,000 rupees a month, he go home, he buy groceries for himself, he send his kids to school, and it empowers him. He learns a new skill as well. Now he's employable, he can manage his family, and he can do better than his life is
That's
improved.
a great answer. Thank you.
Amen.
Assalamu alaikum, great success story. I have a question about Amazon. You just read a lot of reports that Amazon lets you grow up to a certain point, because there is always an Amazon basics, if something is, really being popular, they create their own product and then obviously keep increasing prices. So we hear a lot of stories where you can grow, but up to a certain point. So have you observed that and how do you handle it?
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of disruption in our industry. Recently, there was a lot of aggregators. Some of them lost a lot of money. I think it all depends, like a lot of aggregators enter the Amazon business by just like for the higher valuation, and then data manipulation, and then their basics were not right. They were not like the core seller. They were never designing products. Their main intention was not to sell products, but also just to increase the valuation and do the IPO. So their basics were wrong. If your basics are right, if your fundamentals are right, and if you know what you're doing, it's very profitable. And the other challenges, like selling on Amazon 10 years ago was very easy. 5 years ago was easier. Today there are 9.5 million sellers, smartest brain on the earth. So there are sharks out there. So unless you have experience and skill and expertise that you can compete at that level, there is a chance of failure. But if you have the right experience, there is no better business. But if you don't have the right experience, there is no worse business, right? So you have to enter into the business with the right experience if you enter into Amazon business.
Adil.
Hey, Jabran, thank you so much for sharing. There's so many interesting elements of your story. One of the elements I'd like you to talk a little bit more about is how you're managing this team of 10,000 people in Pakistan from your basement. Specifically, how did you identify and hire and develop the next tier of managers that you must have, presumably, that are on the ground? So is there anything you can share in terms of your management approach, hiring strategies, things like that? Thank you so much.
Okay, so one thing that really helped as compared to many of the other companies I compare with is a lean management. Like there are like only 4 decision makers in our company, and they make most of the decisions. That makes things easier. And then
4 besides you?
Including me. Yeah, there are 4 decisions, me, my brother, and there are two more independent people. All the main decisions are done by them. But you cannot manage a team of 10. I could not manage a 10,000 people team like 8 years ago, 7 years ago. May not be like 3 years ago. So it's a journey. So you first learn how to manage 4 people for 6 months. Then you learn how to manage 20 people in year 2. Then year 3 you learn how to manage 100 people, and then you eventually get to the level. So there are steps. Like it's a journey, and unless you learn it step by step, you can't learn it.
Imran.
Hey, this is Imran. So it looks like that you have your own manufacturing facilities in Pakistan, but can you take us to the journey when you started that? Because I think quality control is a big issue, and you are the first one that I'm hearing a success story, but I have numerous stories. People failed here because of the quality control issue in Pakistan. So how you were managed to, at that time, were you going from one vendor to another one, or you were just lucky to have a good vendor in the very beginning?
So in Pakistan, I bought products from other suppliers, and they had minor quality issues. But if your process is right, if you pay them right, they give you good goods. So, but most of our people, what they do is when they buy from Pakistan, the Pakistani people compete too much with each other. And the product that actually costs $10, they want to buy it for $9. And you will never buy a right product for $9, so you will get quality issues in the end. Right? So if you pay the right money and explain them, like I'm paying the full money, and you have a right process, you have a right QA from the beginning, you set the right tone in the beginning by rejecting the shipments, then you can manage it.
Okay. Just a quick question. You mentioned about the mousetrap. and you said that you can reuse it. You were talking about the trap or the mouse?
We reuse the same mouse for the testing over and over again.
Please introduce yourself.
Assalamu alaikum. You're a true inspiration, and I'm a huge Amazon user, and I've bought your products many times.
Thank you.
I run a nonprofit, and what I do is that wherever Amazon is across the world, even in the US, I log into that country's Amazon. For example, in India, I support 4 schools, and they are in need of supplies and books all the time. That I go seemingly, I log in on Amazon India and do that. I want to be able to do that in Pakistan as well. There are 2-3 orphanages I'm very much interested in supporting, but I understand that I can't do that via Amazon today. So I was wondering if there was a way through your platform to be able, from someone in the US, log in, buy the products that are needing, whether they're clothes, linens, whatever you have, and then they can be delivered directly to that location.
It can be done. I mean, there are consolidators that can do that.
Okay?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk more then.
Sure.
Thank you. Next.
Assalamu alaikum, Jabran. This is Shiraz. Came here from Roanoke, Virginia to see you today.
Thank you.
And I think I've spoke to you a couple of years ago on the phone as well. I know you talked to a lot of people you might not even remember. And my question, I'm from Sialkot, Pakistan, by the way.
Appreciate it.
I've heard your YouTube interviews and I've seen all that today as well. You started buying from other companies. If I have an opportunity in hands and I'm struggling to manufacture some products, would you be able to do that on a commercial basis in one of your manufacturing facilities in Pakistan?
So right now, our manufacturing company supplies goods to other companies, but we don't supply anyone goods in our own brand. So if someone want to, so we can white label, so we can put any other company's brand on our product, but we don't give anyone product in our own brand to sell on Amazon.
I have my own brand.
Yeah, so I can make products for you.
All right. Now, one other question I have. Amazon is fading away. I don't know if you are aware or not. Temu and the people, the giants in China, they're taking over the method of the business on Amazon. It's changing. They are shipping 30 to 40 million products a day out of China. You order something from Temu and it get delivered, and they're way cheaper. Do you have anything in mind to cater that?
So what happened to the other companies who went to bankrupt, who just followed the same business? So there are a lot of, there is a Wish.com, right? Wish.com was the same model, it now bankrupt company. So I need to see to the books of such companies, but every company have a different business model, and I think Amazon is far ahead of the game right now. I don't see anyone close to 2% of Amazon competition.
Shein and
I know Shein very well, but
they're all Chinese manufacturers.
I know, but
They're none of them here. They're way ahead. Their overhead expenses are way too low. Is it going to be a challenge?
I understand logistics a lot, and I think Amazon is not an e-commerce company. Amazon is a logistic company that have a fulfillment center all over the USA. So the way Amazon network works is that you deliver, let's say, 100 boxes to the Pennsylvania location. They're going to distribute 20 to California, 10 to Texas, and they're going to distribute close to the population center. And they're going to eventually deliver that product at $4 from $3 to $4 from individual vans who delivers to the people. So if you understand how the Amazon logistic works and how big infrastructure is that, you will not be concerned. Because first you have to understand how Amazon FBA machinery works. And if you understand how that works, and I know every player in the market very well because that's our key area of strength, and no one is like by miles close to that.
I don't want to hold a lot of people, but if I have more questions, is there any way I can talk?
We can just talk. Yeah, right after.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Jabran. I'll talk to you.
And one thing for everybody, I talk with everyone all the time, and I usually people text me, and you can get my number from him, and I can talk hours.
I do have
with
your
you.
number.
Yeah, and people talk anytime. You probably whenever
Yeah,
you texted
last
me,
time I
I
spoke to
replied,
you.
and we talk, right? So you can do
Last
that
time
all
I
the-
spoke to you, you gave me 2 hours on the phone, and thank you very
Yeah,
much for
thank
that.
you.
That
I'm
inspired
like
me
with
a
that
lot.
with everybody, so don't worry.
Thank
know
you.
what?
I'll talk to you later.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we're going to have more questions. Please come forward. I do want you to appreciate what he just said. Jabran is interested to mentor people who want to go into this industry. Logistics, supply chain, distribution, manufacturing, e-commerce. That's very rare. So thank you for offering it. Next question.
Great. Thank you so much. So that means I would love to definitely be one of your mentor. I'm sorry, being one of your apprentice.
I like to learn from all of you, so I think we all have a lot of information, and I think collective wisdom is better than individual. So I learn every day from each one of you. And when I offer by discussion with anybody, half of my interest is to learn something from them too. So it's not one way.
Great. Yeah. Well, my question is actually, Jordan, thank you so much. I think you brought up a lot of inspiration for a small business like us, which are digital banking. The question I have when you gave tips about HR, which you have to bring a great team in order to build something great. I'm just very curious when you mentioned about you created this implemented this software to monitor and make accountable our employees. At what stage is that? For the reason why for this question is, we have about 40 employees, and they're also, about 75% of them are also abroad in Nairobi, Kenya. And one of the things that we found was the fact that, this is in deliberation with the executive teams and member of the management team, but at what stage did you implement this, not having to be, to scare away your employees, right? A major exodus because you're monitoring, being like an Uncle Sam. And then, then they leave, right? So then that's the point where we're trying to deliberate, is it a good mechanism to implement? If so, at what stage?
So just before you answer, 2 more questions after this, then lunch, okay?
Okay. So I always tell people that Agile and Scrum approach that I mentioned in the beginning is don't fix a problem, don't try to fix too many problems too early. Just look at the problem. So if your organization needs that, if you feel that your employees are not being sincere, they are watching videos or they are doing these kind of activities, if there is an evidence of that from your administration team, then only do it. If it is not needed in the culture of your organization, I don't recommend doing it. So you have to understand, and it only depends where you have a problem. So only fix a problem if it exists. We always say, don't fix something that's not broken. So if you have a problem, then fix it. Otherwise, you don't have to.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
My name is Faryal, and I actually wanted to share with everyone that I've had the opportunity of actually visiting Utopia Industries in Pakistan. And I went there as a professional, in my professional capacity. I visited the organization, the entire factory and the manufacturing factory. And I wanted to share with everyone that I was in super awe of how that entire factory works. He said that he was monitoring his employees. Actually, me as a visitor, I got video shotted, and I got my snap taken 3 times before I could actually enter the facility. And I was even in more awe and shock when I learned that the CEO of the company is actually not even present within the facility, and he lives abroad. And I was very proud. I was super proud of finding out that there was somebody who set up that entire thing in Pakistan, was employing so many people. And he's such a humble person, and I'm so glad that I've got to meet him here, and that I wish him the best of luck.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
That's a hard question to follow. Mine is very mechanical compared to this spiritually good question. 2 questions again. Number one, by the way, the clarity and the simplicity of your thought is amazing. I think you are special, your brother is special, so it's really great. Really good to see. I'll talk to a lot of executives, and the simplicity of your thinking is fantastic. 2 questions. One is diversification. All eggs in Amazon, it's a big basket, but any thought of diversification? And secondly, any discussions with other stakeholders in Pakistan to replicate your model? We need some brighter examples, government policies, God knows where they're going. So the 2 things. How do we have more of you? Any things that you're doing with the government or with any other stakeholders? And then the other is a business question of diversification.
So diversification, we have 5,000 SKUs, and we have a very large catalog of cookware, non-stick cookware, plastic, metal hanger. textile, non-textile. We want to get into the shoes and other products. So we are very diversified in terms of the number of
The channel I meant.
the channels. So we are in 4 Amazon channels. We sell on Amazon USA, Canada, UK, and Europe. So they're all considered to be separate entities. So unless like something went wrong with Amazon model itself, we are like kind of secure in each model. We are diversifying our manufacturing now. Now our manufacturing is supplying goods to other companies. So that's one of the area we are diversifying. Now working with the government, I have been in multiple discussions with government on various projects. There is a project we do, we call it pallets. We use agriculture waste and turn it to a coal-like structure and then use it as a coal alternate or natural gas alternate. And it is like 5 to 10 times cheaper, 5 times cheaper than natural gas, and at the same time 0 carbon emission or almost like no carbon emission. So it can just get rid of the fog from Lahore, or it can just reduce $7 billion in energy imports for Pakistan. So we worked on that project. We did a proof of concept. Now we have 2 machines. Many people are following. In similar ways, we are working with government in many different ways. And also a lot of new manufacturing that we bring in Pakistan that was not there before. Now Gulam and other companies are setting up the plants for that by just following our footsteps. So it's helping others to directly or indirectly.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jabran.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Before we break for lunch, Zaina, would you like to come up and say a few remarks?
Okay. So has everybody had a good time so far this morning? Yep, excellent. So at this point, it's me standing in way of the food. So let me start quickly, right? This is OpenDC's 19th year. Okay, so we are 19 years old. Next year, our 20th anniversary. I think in our audience, we may have some of the founding members of Open. And if you're here, could you stand up, please? Thank you so much. Okay. What I want to do next is introduce our executive team, because without them, none of this would be possible. We have an excellent executive team. And as I call out your name, please come on the stage and be recognized. Asna. Come on up. So Asna takes care of our social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, WhatsApp, whatever you call it. Okay, thank you, Asna. Saher. Stay here. So Saher is, she's a note taker. Every meeting, Saher is responsible for the notes. If you get it wrong, it's her fault. Okay. Raphael. Did I say that? So Raphael is kind of like an all-rounder. Wherever we need help, the go-to man. Okay, so he helps us with event planning and lots of miscellaneous stuff. Zakir. Come on up, Zakir. So Zakir is our student outreach ambassador. So we want young people to come on as volunteers. And if you're in the crowd and you're interested, or you have kids you'd like to get involved with Open, please reach out to Zakir, because that's his job. Okay. We have 3 who are not here, but they're a great resource and great volunteer help for us. There's Faryal, who's not here right now. She usually helps us with registration. Ramiz, if you see these flyers, designed and produced by Ramiz, but he's not here. Nida, who is a great help with event planning, but she's not here today. Next, I want to call Faisal. Where's Faisal? Abasi. A lot of the speakers that you heard today A thanks to Faisal. He has an innate ability to pick up the phone, call anybody randomly, and get us over as a speaker. Thank you, Faisal. We also have here Sherry. Where is Sherry? She's our treasurer. She's the one who keeps our books and accounts, come on, Sherry, in order. So if you receive a membership bill, it's from Sherry. She's our treasurer. Kamil is here. Kamil's our legal counsel, and I don't know where he is. Is he here? Well, he was here. I saw him earlier. So any pressing legal question, let's call Kamil. Kamil Khan, thank you so much. And last but not the least, my CEO and my co-CEO, Saleha and Umar Dar. I have not forgotten Umar. Come on out. So I don't know which one of them is CEO and which is co-CEO, but without them, this EC will not run. Okay, so thank you, Umar. They pretty much run all these events, organize everything, the flyers, the logistics, everything. So CEO and co-CEO, I don't know which is which, but Salia and Umar Dar. Salia would like to say a few words before we part for lunch, but thank you so much for coming and hope to see you next year again.
I definitely want to thank the EC. Without them, this event wouldn't be happening today. So thank you everybody who helped us. Just before you guys go for lunch, you probably have seen this around the room on your tables. It's our WhatsApp public-facing community that we are announcing today. So this will help us keep us together, build a community, continue fostering the relationships we're building today, and continue building new network, new relationships as we leave the room. And then we're gonna use that public forum to announce more events, announce more engagement opportunities within the community. So please join, and hopefully we'll continue the engagement there. Thank you.